Welcome! In this lecture I'm going to show you how to choose a light source and then use that light source and the values that we've added to our palette to start creating, to make this image feel more 3D and a part of the world. So if you remember, the last time we did this, our previous light source was up here in the left hand corner and pointed down about like this. Okay? That's what our previous light source looked like. And we're going to use the same light source because we're going to pretend that this tree and that other character that we created are from the same game. So in that case, the light source is going to be the same. They're going to be coming from the same area. Now that we have our light source drawn in, we're going to imagine where this light would be hitting on this tree object. And we're going to draw in kind of basic shapes. So if you come across right here, you can imagine that the light is probably going to be hitting like this on this shape. It's going to be hitting there. And I bet that it's going to be hitting along most of this too, actually. So I'm going to just draw some circles where I think the light is going to be hitting this tree. And this down here is going to be more shaded. We're probably going to get some light hitting this branch right there, coming through and hitting that a little bit. Other than that, we're not going to get much lighting. Maybe a little bit of lighting down this side of the tree and on these roots, like this, from the light source, just barely coming through and hitting on there if it's enough of an angle. So now that we've got that, we're going to use our bucket tool and fill these spaces in like that. And we're going to grab our pen again and grab our lighter value here, and it's going to hit up here, I imagine, and probably along here as well. So we've got kind of these shapes that we're creating with the values. So that's how the light is probably going to be hitting this tree. So now that we've got that set up, we need to do, we've created our basic shapes like we did before. So we need to start kind of making these shapes more complex, just like we did before. So let's grab this darker value, and we're going to start drawing the leaves kind of on this medium value. Make these shapes a little more complex. Where do we think these leaves are going to come and be on this medium value? I'm going to draw those in like this. And then we're going to grab the medium value and do the same thing for this lighter value. Now the lighter value is pretty strong, if you'll notice, and that's okay. What happens is a lot of the time you create your palette and then you actually get it down on the canvas and you realize that it might be a little bit too strong. So we'll probably be changing this brighter color a little bit so it's not quite so strong. But it's a good start anyways, so we can leave it for now. There we go. I'm gonna actually put some up here too. Right there. So we've got this lighting now hitting our tree, and it looks pretty good that way. But we can make it look a little bit better because we've only got we've got the leaves coming out here, but you can imagine that there'd probably be some leaves that received light over here, far enough away that they're not actually connected to this shape very much, but close enough to the shape that they're still getting hit by the light. So let's grab our medium color, and I'm going to actually draw a few leaves like that. They're kind of not really part of the other shape, but they're still close enough that the light's hitting them, and they're getting some of that light. So we can draw some right here as well on these. And in the same way, we can do that with the brighter tones right here. Get some of these leaves that might be getting touched by this light. But aren't necessarily part of those shapes. And doing that can make it, I think, a really big difference in how this tree looks, adding those in a little bit. I'm actually going to carve some of this out too. Like this, come across and carve some of those out. Maybe connect this. Feels a little bit too much right there. Hard to say. There we go. That's looking pretty good with our values. I think if this lighter tone is hitting these leaves, it's probably going to hit down here as well. And hit this. And we can get our other values to kind of follow it up on the other side. Kind of like that. And that doesn't look too bad. Okay, well, we've got our light source. We've used our 3 values to create kind of a 3-dimensional shape here. And now I'm going to erase where the light source is. And that's all for this lecture. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.